So I think you were at NetApp, right? At their
Yeah,
event last week.
their analyst summit last week, and it was an interesting perspective because I totally agree. I think about AI, I think a lot about model development and compute. That gets a lot of the attention, but storage and networking still matter as well. And NetApp made an interesting couple of points. They talk about their intelligent data infrastructure as what they support from a storage perspective. From a practical perspective, that means file storage, block storage for your data lakes, as well as flash storage for more performance stuff, and using those as necessary to build out your AI and analytic storage. So that part made sense to me. And they also showed this interesting slide, which will pop up here, uh, which shows 6 key use cases associated with storage, which I found extremely and surprisingly practical because storage vendors tend to talk about just pure speeds and feeds and gigabytes and petabytes and etc. Associated with what they support. And I found this slide here to be quite useful in providing a more departmental and human perspective of what the storage actually means to people.
Well, and what I like about it is I mean, I guess it's use cases, but it's really speaking very pragmatically to this class of IT professional who clearly, in this slide, I think is the proof of it, is struggling to remain relevant with all of this hype. And
Mhm.
so this slide is really their way of saying, this is how you be relevant in these conversations. And I think it's critical because it's really easy to lose sight, as we talked about, of these really critical foundational components. So I talked about, be the silo buster, right? Be the budget hero, be the sustainability champion, be the application agility driver, right? These are ways that what they're basically saying is our technology, if you can leverage it properly, is relevant to these conversations that are going on. That it's really easy to simply dismiss and say, "Oh, storage doesn't matter, network doesn't matter," even compute, maybe doesn't matter because it's just commoditized. And
Mhm.
so this sort of approach, and I think it's an object lesson or a great model for any tech company that is delivering this sort of foundational technology and trying to not only be relevant themselves, but I think what I love about what NetApp is doing is recognizing that it's not just about them being relevant, it's about helping their primary consumer be relevant in these conversations within the IT organization. And I think it was a brilliant move.
Yeah. So I found that to be interesting. And then they were also uh, providing examples of how they align each of their products to these specific use cases, which is, I think, exactly the type of mapping that customers need as they are trying to sell up to their executive stakeholders and trying to find the right champion. At least they're able to share this language. And I wouldn't say this is the most complex language, but it provides a basic lingua franca, basic standard language that your average techie can provide a 1 or 2 levels up from a managerial perspective. And it's honestly something that every vendor should be doing because
Exactly.
it's easy to get stuck and say and commoditized when everybody's just thinking about these billion-dollar models that we've just been talking about. And that's the flash and dash, but you're still going to need all the foundational technology to support the flash and dash at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, I actually, the fact that it's, what did you say, not very complex language or whatever, I think that's its beauty. It's that this is very pragmatic, very simple terms, and it speaks to the specific challenges that the organization is facing, the conversations they're having, and it gives, if you're a data engineer, a data architect, it gives you a place to, or responsible for the data infrastructure, I guess I should say, that it gives
Mhm.
you a place to play, and that's absolutely critical. So yeah, no, I thought it was really, really brilliant, and it also goes back to this idea of I think the folks are going to win, and not to keep picking on NICE, right? But if I look at the spectrum of how organizations go to market with their AI, we're seeing this across the spectrum, and those that are focusing on the hyperbole and the oh my gosh, this is the greatest new thing ever, are, I think, in the end going to lose out unless you are truly delivering a completely breakthrough technology, and the reality is most are not. Then the ones that are going to win are the ones that are on the other end of that spectrum, which are focusing on the practicality, how to actually put this into operation, how to make this something that applies and can actually start changing my business in very real, tangible, practical, measurable ways.